All right, we'll call the meeting to order here at 8:30 a.m. Good morning, everyone. So before we get going, we'd like to address a concern that's been raised regarding the difference in how people attend meetings and how folks that are in person versus Zoom. Specifically, we've had some questions about why Zoom participants don't have to identify themselves on Zoom while in-person attendees have to sign the clipboard every time. So we reached out and spoke with town council and got their input on it. And their recommendation is that Zoom participants should be treated just the same as anybody that's attending in person. So in order to maintain that consistency and ensure fairness for everyone that attends, we're gonna have all attendees, whether they're in person or online, follow the same requirements and expectations. This way it avoids any perceptions of discrimination of any sorts. So starting today, if you plan to attend a Board of Selectmen's meeting via Zoom, you'll be required to enter your full first name and last name upon joining. If you do not provide your name, you can also do it, if you don't know how to do it on the screen, you can announce yourself as well so that it's recorded into the minutes. But if you don't provide your name, you'll be moved back into the waiting room until that change is made. So we appreciate you for understanding that, and then we'll get going on today's meeting. So we only have one right now. Woodstock residents, you're welcome to identify yourself by unmuting, or you can change your name from Woodstock resident to your actual name, or you can pop it in the chat. I'll give you a minute here to figure out which one you want to do. Otherwise, we'll place you back in the waiting room until we notice the change in that. Okay. We'll put you in the waiting room and that happens. Here we go. So we'll keep an eye on that. You can see that too, right, Kathy? Yep. Okay. So up first, we have John MacKay. We received an email from you, John, requesting to be put on the agenda to address questions regarding the weight in the water contract, as well as the highway department sand and salt shed. So the floor is yours, sir.
Does John have a copy of this?
Yes, I just handed
Okay,
him
I was
a
just gonna
printed
ask,
copy of that.
I
Yep.
want to make sure you got that.
Yep.
I'll start with the contract with Wade. In the contract, it says distribution system flushing annually. Did you give them like requirements on flushing? Like on how long to flush items till it comes out clean or anything like that? Because I don't want to see this again. I'm sure you guys don't either.
Right.
That was black water from the system.
Yep.
Is there any requirements on them making sure it's clean?
I think
it's a reasonable request, and I think
it's
if
up
you
to us
want to
to
get
follow.
together with Mike, the two of you write up something, we'll give it to Wade in the water to make sure
that they do.
it's flushed the way you want them to flushed and the way Mike believes they should be flushed.
Okay.
100%.
I think we can definitely
Mhm.
put them.
And I think they'll be very open to it, so.
On the last one's Penachuk that used to do the water system.
Yep.
There was several problems throughout while they were here, and one of them was not flushing correctly. A few hydrants were not drained, so they froze. Hydrants not shut off all the way. I found two of them that were leaking because they were not shut off all the way. Gate valves full of dirt. And you recognize that when the water main break this winter, and then you couldn't get to all the valves because they were full of dirt.
Yeah.
They marked some gate valves and made arrows in the road last summer in front of the fire station where they thought the water main went, and they weren't even close to where the water main went. So I just want to make sure this new outfit does a better job.
Mike, do you want to chime in? I do feel better with this outfit because I think it's small and more hands-on for us, but
Courtney is very, very intelligent. She's been doing this a long time. This ain't her first trip.
now what are we doing? I guess the question is, what are we doing to make sure that we don't have those valve problems again, I guess. That's what John's asking.
One of the valve problems is the sand, and you can flush that out, but next year it's gonna be full again. It's at the bottom of the hill on Wayne's Market. Every time there's a big rain, the sand is always comes down, heads down around the corner. So yeah, you're gonna have that once in a while. The Planet Chuck come up with some styrofoam cups that we can get. They did a few of them and they work for a while until the sand gets down and pushes them down too much. But we can mention it to Courtney, maybe if they get, when they come up through, maybe hit a few of those, just checking them also, but when they operate the valve, make sure they're getting cleaned out.
John, we did have a meeting with Wade and Water and all these guys after that whole thing, and I think we all came up with some solutions, so you might, as far as all that goes, because
So for the flushing of the hydrants, I mean, I worked with kind of Chuck sometimes when they were flushing hydrants, and they run them a long time, they run until they clean.
is that was
I think what we thought part of the problem with the black stuff that John pulled that time was the night that it's kind of sunk the system when we're running off of pressure. And when they pulled off with the hydrant, that where they were was like the end of the line, because that line is still broken until we get it fixed. It's not a loop.
Oh,
Is that the one going to Lincoln?
Yes,
okay.
so there's probably a little more stuff in it. You can't flush the end of that line right now because you can't. There's a valve at the end of it. No place to really flush it out. You can across by the school, but I don't imagine that one probably got hit real hard. But I didn't know he was going on a hydrant that night. I would have had to go somewhere else. We would have worked together to make it work, but that was the night that our system took a dive. Because like I said, we're running on pressure and we didn't have pressure to operate.
that was when we were redoing the tank,
No.
right?
No,
What?
no,
What's that?
that was not, that night was down in Lower Woodstock when you were working, the tank was a drain. But this fall, when we did this here, using the hydrant on Profile Drive,
Oh, I didn't know you're,
the tank was back in service.
okay, sorry about that, but again, I should be notified. I want to try and work with John and our new water company. We've been talking about hydrants and working with them, with the fire department, a lot of towns. The public works is called whenever they use hydrants or anything like that, so we can go and check the hydrants ourselves. Or health, if they need a lot of water, I can go down and turn the pumps over to hand, stuff like that.
So working together would help a lot.
That working together, you only have to be phenomenal, yes.
I have notified him in the past. I will do better at making sure he knows every time. I
Okay,
did
thank you.
try to get a hold of your new lady, what's her name?
Courtney.
Courtney. From Wayne.
I did call her, talked to her on the phone, said I'd like to meet with her. She said I'll meet with you next week. She blew me off and I haven't heard from her since.
I think what happened there is not her fault. I think, the town got involved and thought that you should be going through Mike for all the water questions. And that, Courtney works with Mike on that type of thing, and I think that's what happened. I don't think,
A little phone call to me saying, hey, can you meet with Mike and us? It would have been,
no, I think I think you're right, but I think that was not her fault. I think that was our fault for not communicating it to you, what was going on.
But I think it's fair. I think we can schedule something where it's Mike, you and Courtney
And I think we should,
to discuss the hydrants.
I think the whole thing
all
is
of that.
we need to work together to make sure
I think
everything
it-
goes good.
without a doubt.
That's what makes the best.
Also, I realize it's too late this year and stuff, but I really think you should consider, somebody in the water department here. Maybe you can still keep Wade in there for doing the test and the paperwork, I don't know, but if you had your own person doing your water here. And you would, the person would, know, everyone on the water department, know it would be done in town from. Know it would be done, the work would be done, the valves be checked, the hydrants flush right. In town for emergencies, know the system. Be able to run the leak detection equipment. This year, when you do the new water main down in Lower Woodstock, it'd be nice to have your own person there to keep an eye on the contractors. I've been around contractors and stuff, and if they can get away with something, they do.
Sure.
It'd be nice to make sure they're putting sand around the pipe. This person could keep track of all the
Unlike-
connections and the
unlike Main,
fittings.
unlike Main Street,
Yes.
where it's just, they threw rocks in there around
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And
You know, when they did that, when was that put in, like, like 100
But
years
if
ago or
you,
something?
you have that with any construction project though, that
Oh, no.
everybody can't be standing there watching the whole time.
No, but we need to look at it, yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to have inspection points, and I think that's why in the past, we've used,
Horizons to help us.
and that's who,
Steve Branch sometimes come down and watch projects.
Horizons,
But like
yeah.
that Main
but
Street
as soon as they
line, there was
turn their back, they'll
Yeah.
throw rocks.
Yeah, but if we, I mean, if
When-
we make checkpoints as far as
Sure.
like when the pipe's getting buried, the engineer has to come down and he has to double check it, Mike has to double check it.
Yeah.
I think there's ways around,
When they did the 12-inch main back in 85, whatever it was, Bill Mel was always there from
Yeah.
Woodstock to North Woodstock. He was there checking to make sure they were doing what they're supposed to be doing and making sure everything was marked and they knew what they were doing. It just helped to have your own
Yep.
person, I think. that-
I would think
We can do that.
we're gonna watch it, I'm sure.
I think you ought to just
Yeah, Mike's-
consider.
I think Mike's gonna watch it, I'm sure. I don't know
Oh,
what's
yeah.
going on.
That's what I had on the water.
okay.
Just a quick thing,
That's
of course, the budget passed, repairs on the fire station. I know the front of the building and the ceiling. How do you want to proceed from here? Do
Did you
you want to
get-
give it to buildings or?
I think we need to get, how many quotes, do we need to get a couple quotes, right?
Yeah, because it was over 25, right?
Right, because it was over 25 to do both work, right?
I don't know the figure.
Let's put together, why don't you two work together
And get a quote.
and get a
it
quote
done.
from a couple of,
Okay.
couple of contractors,
All right,
and then, yeah, we'll get the process going on it,
yeah.
for sure.
Even though I think we have to go through the process of the quotes, I mean, you
Yeah.
don't always have to go to the lowest bill.
No, you're gonna go with the best.
bidder.
Yeah, I know you talked about doing the ceiling, getting the same crew from the prison.
I think let's price it out both ways.
Let's do it both ways.
Yeah, let's do it
That
both
might
ways.
be a real
Okay.
hassle.
They're not always available, unfortunately.
Right, so if
And
we
it
can
could
get
be
a
a project.
contractor in there that can do it all at the same time, or
Yeah.
that would be the better avenue, for sure.
You have enough flooring to do the main hallway too, and trying to get them back is tough, because they're in demand, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
If we give them free work, they're demanded every town in Grafton, so.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, just before all the contractors get booked up, which probably they are already, but we can get a start on it anyway.
Yeah.
It's not a huge job.
Okay.
You have a question on that?
No, do you take comment on the water contract, or do I have to wait till the end of the meeting?
No, we're talking about it,
It's
so go
small.
ahead.
I'm
It's small.
just wondering if you had any conversation with the town of Lincoln when you were looking for water operators.
We did, we were
Yeah.
talking about it.
We talked with them, and they decided not to put in, RFP for
So
it.
they had the option to do it at the time. I thought they were gonna discuss it with you, and what I heard was they were waiting to see what come about. You were gonna get back to them, and they never heard anything about it.
No.
Because I know they would have saved probably $20,000 to $30,000 off of the contract that you had. And I realized that they had a chance to put the bid in, but you could have also. And I'm here as a resident of Woodstock,
Sure.
not as a town
Yeah.
employee. I had to take time off to come here because the meeting's at 8:30 in the morning, but
Yeah. No, that's fair.
the part of it that I'm looking at is, as a resident, I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And they did too. The selectmen that I talked to said they were gonna get together. Not that I don't care about we didn't get it or anything like
Yeah.
that. But I look at it as if it could have saved the town taxpayers a lot of money, and I'm not on the water system, so it wouldn't affect me anyway.
Right.
But if it wasn't fully vetted or looked into on your part as being spokesperson people for the town and the
Yeah.
taxpayers, what else it goes on that might not be vetted properly or looked into more thoroughly to
Okay.
save money on the deal? And I agree with John, and I think Mike Dunn, who said the same thing at a meeting that I watched. If you have somebody here, whether it takes all day for them to do the water, it doesn't, but you have them to do other things, or go around and do all the things like flushing the hydrants or checking the gate valves. And I believe you could get somebody for less than what the contract is.
And we
Maybe
certainly,
not, but it would be close, but you have the advantage of having somebody here 8 hours a day,
Mhm.
5 days a week, and actually doing the weekends. The contract here, the people don't have to do the weekends, correct? somebody, the Woodstock workers do the weekend rounds or whatever you wanna
Yeah,
call it.
they have chores, yep. And it's valid, and we looked at it, and I think the issue and why we've been very hesitant to going back to having somebody in-house is because we've tried it, we've gone down that road, we paid for the training, we got someone in here, and then all of a sudden you have these water contract services that come in and say, oh, they're paying you $20 an hour, we'll pay you $25 an hour and come work for us. And so then we're right back to ground zero again, and we're having to then invest again in somebody. And it's just a vicious circle, and then you lose that water person. And you're at the risk of, you put the water at risk because you can't get somebody in there right away. Not everybody is as loyal as the individuals that we've been fortunate to have in the past. And as loyal as you are in Lincoln and staying in Lincoln and working through
understand
that.
But
But Dave, I'm the biggest water user, and I just like the redundancy of a company.
I just want to say, just want to put it out there, when this all first started, getting a contractor, this wasn't a decision that was made lightly. I was involved in that. That's back when I was Bill Miller. It wasn't the idea of just the money. Wonderful to save money, but it was the liabilities, the insurances, it was the keeping up on all of the licenses. There was a lot involved. It's not just the idea of saving 20 grand. It's the idea of everything that's involved and what they're reliable for. They screw up, it's their ass, it's not ours. And when they get to that, of course, I was offered to go get a license if I want. I was close to retirement and I didn't want it. So there's me and Jimmy and Judy, we did a lot of research. It wasn't just an overnight thought. We did months of this. We also had the backing of Terry Welch, I was working under his license, running the water system at that time. Strongly suggest, you guys really should look into a water department. The guys from the state was also talking and saying how more towns and more towns and more towns are going to water departments. It might be a cost you a little bit more money, but it's the liabilities and everything that goes with it. And that's why we went and did what we did. I said, yeah, you might be able to save 20 grand, but there's a lot comes with those companies that you can't.
Thank you.
But the town has liability insurance, I'm assuming. So they would be covered under it. And if I'm correct in him saying that Jason Kelly comes here, granted he's working for them, that company. He's the guy that got trained by the town of Woodstock to be the water operator. And because something happened,
Nothing happened, somebody offered more money and he split us back to the good.
and then I get that point of it too, but the police department, they lose officers and you don't say, well, we're gonna go do something else because we don't want to train somebody or send somebody, police officer to the school that they have to get trained.
Yeah, that's kind of apples and oranges there. That's.
I know the police and the water isn't the same, but it's the theory of it or the concept or the reasoning behind it. Just,
And I'm not saying, just, give the water department in charge, but if you could work with Wade. And they
To
would
make
still
it
be
train
responsible
someone
for
or
it, but have our own worker here to do that
help.
work.
They're paying even more for water, so now you gotta pay, plus you're paying the contracted service.
You get what you pay for, and if you wanna skip out and pay less, that's what you're gonna get, and I think that's what you got with Penachuk. So if it costs us a little bit more money to have a full-time guy here, then be it, at least that the valves are gonna be ready to close and open, the hydrants are flush.
A full-time license.
If need be, I mean, like, none of the guys on the highway department now are certified, but that they can do the weekend things. Maybe this guy could do it during the week. I don't know if that's possible or not, but I just think if you had somebody here to maintain it and know where stuff is, it would help the town, that's all.
Okay. We'll certainly take that feedback
Okay.
for when the next contract comes up. And we'll look at it again.
and to go back to the discussion that should have been had with Lincoln. Lincoln has 3 certified operators that are grade 2 or above in treatment and distribution. They also have an excavator that they go and dig service lines up with and water mains up with. So it would have been a benefit to have them. And all the operators or everybody that deals with it is within 15 minutes from here.
One more thing.
Sure.
On the contract,
That's what we're doing.
it says, the town will provide confined space entry. If need be, and they would not wade in the
Yeah.
water. Are the highway department certified to do confined space entry?
I have been
You have that?
with the state.
Oh. Yeah. All right,
That's good.
good, thank you.
You have another question?
No, I'm done,
Oh, you're
Okay.
done?
I'm done.
Oh, okay.
You gave me the copy,
that's
that's all I wanted,
That's good.
copies.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
I thought you may have had more
I
questions.
thought you had
Oh,
questions.
oh, sure.
No, I just wanted to know, that's all.
I don't blame you.
All right,
Very
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time this morning.
Like it was good work.
And you two are gonna connect. You two are gonna connect with some dates and meet with Courtney.
Did you check this morning? I got it messed up yesterday, so they'll do the same thing. You said down, told me that down. I would take it back to the right down the road.
1 second.
Okay, then.
At your age, it's expected.
This happens.
Your age, you need 2 seconds.
Thank you,
Um, What's that? What is that? You should be quick, hopefully. Next up, we have the minutes. From February 11th. Yeah. Yeah, all right, so next up, we have to approve and sign the minutes from the February 11th meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
All those in favor, all those that abstain. Okay. And then we have approve and sign, approve and sign minutes from, February 25th.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, you got that, Kathy? Yep. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think Scott was absent that then.
Yep, all those abstained?
Yeah. I'm abstained.
Just staying.
All right, can you don't sign those?
No, I
Pass
won't.
those around. Next up, we have a butterfly release request. I can't get that request to pull up, but
I can't.
it looks like, last year we approved it and they had done it in Soldiers Park. But, it was a little too noisy there, and so they would like to move it down to Staple Rock Park. They'll provide us with a COI. And we typically vote to waive the fees for nonprofits like this. Especially for
That's why they're
agencies that
asking.
support our residents, yep, that's why they're asking, so. I have no issues with it, if we did it last year, Staple Rock is probably.
I make a motion, we
for
let him use it for nothing.
it. Okay,
Seconded.
all right, all those in favor? We have a town property film permit. Only you feature.
Do we give film permits?
I don't know, so I couldn't understand exactly, when I read this last night, it sounds like he's looking to do it. Filming Riverside near One Wayside Road, so is that Fay Wayside?
That's what I would think.
Which would be state parks, which means they would have to get a permit from state.
Anything north of, N32.
Right, I think we need to get a little more details from him exactly where he's looking, and if that's the case, then he would need to. If it's along the river on Fay Wayside, then he would have to get a permit from the state, because that's state parks. And I can certainly provide him with the information on who to contact down there. So.
Would we need to provide maybe some police for traffic?
Sounds like it's a very small crew,
Yeah.
and he'd probably be in the pull-off by the river, so it doesn't sound like.
We should let PD.
We can let the PD
Oh,
know
yeah.
for sure, but it's a low budget film,
Right.
so the number of cast and crew would be extremely limited,
I'm surprised they even asked.
right? Kudos to them for asking,
That is, yeah.
so,
Unless
so
you
we'll
have to tell-
we'll table that until we can figure out some more from him. Next up, we have the annual review of policies.
I read through them all, and they really haven't changed anything, so
No,
can we just vote to accept them all at the same time?
I don't see why not. I think we just have to say, so I make a motion to accept the capital asset depreciation policy, the credit card policy, the financial management plan, the fund balance policy, investment policy, and the purchasing policy. Do I have a second? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Just initial.
No signature. Yeah.
I know we want to set up a new one.
Yeah.
The lawyers get involved with me, like conflict.
The signing on spot, right?
Oh, it's not on that one. No, that one's separate. Okay. So then next we have the delegation of deposit authority, and this is the form that's required by the auditors and authorizes who can take deposits to the bank on behalf of the town. We typically utilize this, or Judy and the staff usually only use this when there's only one of them working in the office. So they have to have someone like the treasurer or the chief or lieutenant or the corporal do that. So have a motion to sign the delegation of deposit authority.
Make a motion.
All right, do I have a second? All right, all those in favor? You're in the middle one. Up next, we have some appointments to make. You'll miss this one. Okay.
So choose that.
So we have the annual appointments for tax collector, deputy tax collector, and treasurer. I make a motion to appoint Eleanor Harvey as the town of Woodstock treasurer. Do I have a second?
Yes, you do.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have a oath of office, so I make a motion to appoint Cheryl Borassa as the tax collector. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then I make a motion to appoint Judy Lynn Welch as the deputy tax clerk. Do I have a second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. So. We have, the contractor's application for permit number 3 on the, sewer pump house upgrade. I think, I think it's popped under, other business or old business.
Okay.
Yeah, the Route 112 sewage pump station, application for payment number 3.
Okay, I got it.
So I need a motion to issue payment number 3 and authorize, myself to sign. Do I have a motion?
Yep, second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that can go right down to, no signature needed by the way, it's just by me, so that can go to copy. What else do we have on here? Conservation Commission, Q1, Merriam Woods Trail Camera Update. Ooh, is that a raccoon?
Raccoon, yeah, I've seen raccoon in a while.
Now, I gotta tell you, there was a, very first camera, monitoring they did on that area where it looks like there's a raccoon right there,
Yeah.
there was a bobcat. And it disappeared off the site,
Oh, geez.
Oh.
and I questioned it, and they didn't say anything, so. But I mean, it was big. It had a tail about this big around and this freaking long.
Wow.
It had to be 75, 80 pounds. It was a big animal.
Fish and Game says they're not here.
Yeah, that's why that disappeared, I think.
Yeah.
It was on the very first trail cam.
I seen tracks one and I seen one going over 118 one day, coming down off the hill.
Yeah.
No, a real cat.
Oh, no,
Mountain lion, yeah, I
Yeah.
said bobcat, mountain
no, I
lion.
seen him up on the top of 118 when Randy Roberts and I were coming home from fishing.
Yep.
The first, it jumped off a bank, hit the yellow line and jumped, and we both went and looked at each other, there was a tail light.
Yeah.
That is a big ass cat.
Just above elbow.
Yep.
Yeah, I asked why that picture disappeared.
Hmm.
Oh, but we're
In
just
Charlie
there for,
Kimball's book, if you ever get one of those, it talks about the cat that knocks back in the 50s, 40s and 50s.
well, now they're
Kimball wrote a
finally,
book about it.
yeah, they're finally freely admitting that there's a lot of bobcats around now.
Yeah.
Well, I can get a picture of me holding one, that's
Mountain
what.
lion,
No, bobcat,
Oh, yeah.
bobcat's got the small,
Yeah.
tail and the
yeah.
high.
When I see a picture of one, I'm holding it. He shot it underneath my camper.
Oh,
jeez.
gosh.
Yeah, that's that one that Kevin come up and shot. I thought it was a big house cat.
Yes.
He shot it, he got underneath, pulled out, it was a bobcat.
Been hit by a car.
Well, it's been quiet up there this first quarter. They've had about 15 recreators visit the Merriam Woods, yeah. And about 12 animal sightings from raccoons to turkeys. It's been a lot of turkeys.
Real turkey is not.
Yeah.
They have a lot of
Nice.
turkeys up there.
Yes.
More turkeys up there. Probably a little above, dude.
Yeah.
I've been hanging out with you on Triple I.
Oh, turkey, just some have feathers.
It's nice to have these quarter updates. And I believe they get uploaded to their portion on the website too, on woodstock.h.gov, which is nice. So residents can go check that out. Under old and other business, we have a request from the town attorney to set up a meeting to go over the Linwood ambulance contract. I'm actually sitting down with the executive board of the ambulance, Karina and OJ today to discuss
Right.
the contract. So I think maybe let's let that discussion and then we can arrange something with Naomi after that if she feels it's still necessary. But I did tell them when I met with them briefly the other day that Woodstock would be entering into their own contract with the ambulance and Lincoln would
But-
enter into their
But
own.
it should be the same.
It should mirror each other.
Mirror,
Correct.
yes, no, I don't mean, yeah.
Right. Right, it'll mirror each other,
Well, that
just be
makes sense.
two separate contracts,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
And I sensed that's what Naomi was kind of
Right.
getting after us about, is that it should be one singular contract.
Oh, I don't think
so,
that was the plan. was it?
No. No,
But I think it should mirror, it could
they
be
should,
the
have
same
same
contract,
language.
not the same contract.
right, they should have similar language, for sure. We just did the pump station, apparel impact. I'd like to put a 3x3 drop-off bin for clothing.
They've done it at the dump already.
They have one at the transfer station, but they've been approached about a location in Woodstock. They've been looking for a good location, someone
Just
asked
talk in.
or suggested
Yeah,
that.
I
No,
don't-
no, that's
I don't-
nothing.
I'm just suggesting that everybody goes to the transfer station. Why do we need one out front here? I
Right.
just- Not that I'm against it, but
Cause my only concern with that would be that if you put one here and it gets full and all of a sudden you have all these bags of clothes and stuff
Yeah.
piling up around it, what type of site is that? And with the
Bringing up
transfer
traffic
station,
in That would normally go to the transfer station to do that.
right,
Everybody knows where they are.
right,
Or somewhere else that may not get traffic or.
It'd be different if it wasn't offered over there, and we all use the same transfer station, so like, to me,
right.
it's redundant, I think, but.
I think what they're looking for is an access to one 24 hours a day, whereas like the transfer station's only available from 8:30 to 4:30 or 4. They're open till 4, right?
Yeah, but what's the?
4:30.
When
4:30,
people have a
okay.
couple cocktails and wanna dump their.
I,
trash or something.
well, you don't know. But no, that's what I think that what they're saying is that, you know, it's only available to for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, but if someone can't figure out, I don't know, I'm not in favor of it at this point in time.
I'm
I
not-
think there's other options potentially.
So who picks that stuff up?
This
They will.
company, Apparel Impact,
So if they don't show up, we call them, they don't show up, we take it to the dump?
no, they would have a bin, right?
Well, I mean, we're
Yeah,
not gonna litter our front door with.
Right,
no, I just
That
don't,
is
I don't think. I don't think there's a need for it, I think everybody in Lincoln and Woodstock goes to a transfer station, they can drop
Right.
this stuff off when they come.
Yeah, I don't
That's
see
right.
it. We don't do it.
I mean, no, okay, so why don't we just, then, I make a motion to, say thank you for reaching out, but we're gonna pass on the opportunity right now. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Now that brings us to public participation on any of the agenda items today. Any other comments, questions? Yeah,
It wasn't on the agenda, but you mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting for your Zoom policy.
Yep.
I get it, if somebody wants to talk on Zoom, they should have to say who they are, but I
Yeah.
would think somebody who just wants to watch would be able to watch and not feel like they have to sign on to do it. I don't know if there's people that would do, obviously that person that was on didn't want to sign on or chat, maybe they did, I don't know.
Yeah.
They put it.
But
in
they
the
can
chat.
watch the thing later.
they can watch
Yeah,
the
I
recording
realize that, but
after, yeah,
and to my point, that is, I went back and looked for minutes or the agendas to find out when you were gonna discuss the water contract,
Mhm.
and I saw nothing on there. And then I saw in sometime, I think it was in January, one of your January meetings or later, that you approved minutes for 13 meetings that you had.
Yeah, we got behind.
From
the
September
workshops.
to January, and some of them are non-public and you don't discuss what those are or anything like that, but
Yeah,
I just think it was. I'm not trying to say you're trying to hide anything, but it just
Yeah.
doesn't seem very transparent. If things aren't up to date or to know, so people know what's going on to do it.
understandable.
And I get that part of what the lawyer said, you should make everybody announce themselves or whatever, but I think if somebody wants to go on there to watch it, whether they might not have anything to say, but there might be something that's okay, I'll have to go to the next meeting or something if they don't watch the recording after it or whatever, but.
Yeah. And I see both sides, but I do see how, just to come in and listen today, like if you didn't have anything to
Right.
say, you'd have to sign the clipboard, and I guess that's where it's. So we don't get that
But
discrepancy.
it's not really like you're not being fair to everybody if they're just watching and not saying anything. If somebody's here and just watching and not saying anything, that's the same thing, so
Mhm.
you got their name, but if the only reason I would need a name is if they had to speak to be in the minutes, I would think.
Well, attendance is attendance.
And I would think it would be more friendly, I guess, instead of being such a hard line type of thing that says, we don't want you to watch unless you're gonna say who you are.
Yeah,
That's just my opinion of it.
okay, no, I appreciate it, and we can take that back to the town attorney and see what her take is specifically on that, yeah, if they're not
Cause I
speaking.
know on a planning board meeting that they had,
Yep,
somebody was on, didn't announce themselves, and they made comment, and they got into kind of like an argument over, well, they need to say who they were, and the person said, I do not need to for some whatever RSA it might have been or something considered on the Zoom or something, I don't know.
yeah, I'll check on that.
One more question I guess I have is, why do you feel it necessary to have your meetings at 8:30 in the morning? every other one.
every other
I
one,
can
so
see
that the
having
next
some
one.
because there's business you need to take care of or something like that. And I don't know, I've watched some of the meetings at 5:30 and it's not like there's a whole crowd full of people in here neither, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's more convenient, like I have to take time off, I don't mind that, I'd do that till I wanted to discuss some things, but.
Oh,
Other
as do
people
I
might
take
not.
time off to be here as well
Right.
from work, and I think we do it to have a balance so that if there's individuals that can't make an evening meeting. And can make a morning meeting, the opportunity is there, so that there's a balance between it.
It's easier for
Certainly,
engineers,
it's
stuff like that.
easier to, when we're working with vendors as well. Not every time are we gonna have a vendor to meet with, but
And if we ever have something that we need to have another meeting at night, we can, you know,
Right.
we're
we're,
open to that.
we're all
for sure.
flexible.
And contractors, a lot of times they work their day, they
They
want
grab
a full day, do they wanna come in at night and,
Yeah.
you know, get all the.
And
whatever
in this
hours.
community, a lot of people work at night.
You know, there's a lot of variables, you know, so we're open to suggestions. But for now, this is a new policy,
We're gonna give it.
read our way through, see how it works. Should be fine.
was
And if
gonna-
anybody has any questions that they can't wait for the next meeting, they can always walk into Judy.
Oh, yeah.
And she can,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's, or call her, I mean, it's just easier than phone call.
Or call one of us,
You know,
people do.
It's all right.
I had a couple quickies,
Under old business, yeah,
just not, kind of.
Okay.
stuff,
let it shoot.
I've had, nothing big, a couple of, a few people talked to me about the couple of little junk ads we got going on in town. So I was gonna try to follow up if it's okay with everybody with the attorney to see how we can address those
Mhm.
and see what route we could take to try to make them a little bit better.
Yeah,
Okay.
if they're, are you referring to cars?
It's not just cars, it's everything, salvage yards is what we're talking about, salvage yards, I can see what we're talking about.
Well, if in regard to cars, we had this issue. And I remember researching it in the past. And a car is inventory. If you can take parts off it, regardless of whether it runs or not. It's considered inventory by the state. So they could pile up cars, and we know a couple places in town, both towns that do that. But they can do it legally because it's considered inventory.
But, well, I don't know.
That's how they get away with it.
I'm just gonna ask her, you know,
Yeah.
see what.
Yeah,
see what
have the
our options
conversation.
are, you
For
know.
sure.
And then, and the other little thing is Mike and I are following up on the sewer treatment plant. Maybe a centrifuge or press or whatever, it's, you know, we're leaning against the centrifuge thing, but we don't know, you know, there's
It's worth investigating.
a lot of opinions out there, and, is it worth it? You know, even though we pay $150,000 a year to get the liquid taken away. It still may be cheaper than getting a press or a centrifuge or whatever, but we may end up saving, you know, Jesse's Horizons is working on it, and, we all met over there for about an hour the other day, so it was good. But we're still working on that.
Great. Anything else? Being none, I would make a motion to adjourn at 9:14 AM. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor?
Alright.
Thank you all for coming out.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Good to see you.
Yeah.
You're good input.